everybody, and welcome to Crossing Kin and the Crossing King Garage. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Randy.
And it's Star
Star
Wars
Wars Month!
Woo! All month long, we are going to be coming at you with all the Star Wars content. In fact, we are going to be having a video every single Thursday in May. And guess what? There are 5 Thursdays in May.
Every Thursday!
Also, we are once again going to be having bonus videos on Saturdays. Now, just 2 of them. So, Saturday, May the 4th, and then 2 weeks later, we are going to be having some bonus what if content coming at you. So, stay tuned to Crossing Kin all month long.
And if you're wondering what in the world is Star Wars Month, go look at Crossing Kin last year. From 2023, we've got a lot of great content there. And we also would love to hear from you because, let's face it, Star Wars is a topic of conversation.
Yes, it is. There should be a playlist linked either here above my head or up above Daddy's head. Somewhere above us, there is a link to the entirety of our Star Wars month from last year. But today, we begin our Star Wars month with actually something you guys voted for. At the end of Star Wars month last year, I did a poll and asked what videos you guys wanted to see, and this was voted number 1. So, we are doing our top 10 droids in the Star Wars universe. Now, please note, Dad and I are limited to what we have seen in the films and the shows. So, if there is a droid that everybody loves from a video game, a comic book, just a book, we're very deeply sorry. We have no clue who that droid is. So, that's my
Disclaimer for the month.
Disclaimer. We are limited in our knowledge to the movies and the shows, so please be kind. If there is a droid that you guys love that is from a comic, video game, or book, post his or her name down in the comments
and
below.
Give us a little bit of a synopsis of who they are and how they fit in the overall Star Wars universe. Because we absolutely adore the backstories of all of this stuff in Star Wars. That's why one of our videos later on in the month, you're going to hear a lot about the backstories.
Alrighty, so as ever with our top 10s, we do have honorable mentions. Honorable mentions first up, C-3PO. Please don't kill us. We know that this droid has his fans.
But he's annoying! All the way through! He is annoying! He's not cool like R2-D2. He is annoying!
Dad actually did try to find a way to leave him off this list, but I said we couldn't just because he is one of only 2 characters to be in almost every iteration of Star Wars. I think he and R2 have only not shown up in the Bad Batch at this point.
I think R2 has.
I don't remember. Let us know if they've shown up in the Bad Batch. I don't remember, so let us know. Speaking of the Bad Batch, our next honorable mention is Gonky, the Gonk droid of the Bad Batch.
He's a trash can.
He's a walking power unit.
Trash can.
He is a power unit. He's a battery.
Yeah, I think Dr. What's his name for Dr. Brown from Back to the Future is getting him as a power unit because he's full of trash.
Stop it.
He just looks like a trash can. I can't help it.
But he
honorable mention, however.
He is a precious droid and a member of the Bad Batch.
He is a member of the Bad Batch, which we dearly love.
Up next, we have L337. She was Lando's droid in Solo, as played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I believe. She is also that droid. I think at the end of Solo was like integrated into the Falcon's systems. She also led the droid revolution in that mining world. So,
right. If you're not familiar with that name, there's a very interesting tie-in to Star Wars, the OG films. She played with Harrison Ford in the last Indiana Jones movie and did a pretty good job.
Up next, we have B2EMO. He was Mama Andor, as I've come to call her, droid in Andor. He starts out, bless his heart, he's kind of broken. He's a little bit malfunctioning. It's like his power core keeps draining quickly, so he's constantly needing to be recharged.
Everything except for the Death Star on Andor is, sorry, spoiler alert, is is broken. All the people are broken, all the gear's broken because they're taking all of this stuff to make a solar eclipse, basically.
Um, but this droid, bless him, he did have probably one of the more heart wrenching moments in Andor when, again, spoiler alert, when Mama Andor passed away, and Minerva, that's her name, when Minerva passed away, and he just is keeping on like, where's Minerva? Where's Minerva? And so it's heartbreaking, it's lovely, and we love this little droid. Up next, in our last honorable mention, we have R5D4. I've always called him Red. He is the droid who blows a gasket, allowing R2 to get sold to Luke along with C3PO. He has also made a comeback in the Star Wars universe as the Mandalorian's new droid.
Wow.
As Din Djarin's new droid. If you remember from season 3, he's the droid that helps Din kind of scout the surface of Mandalore. And now, on to the top 10.
If those were the droids from our honorable mention, just wait.
All right. At number 10, we have BB-8. He is the droid from the sequel trilogy. He is one of the best parts of the sequel trilogy, which is deeply sad. But he is also the only character that remains consistent in the sequel trilogy.
Because he's a droid.
Yeah. He's a cute little BB unit, precious little rolly ball. He, bless his heart, he's kind of Poe's pet, but yeah, he's very helpful to the entirety of the crew. Um, and he's got some sass in him. Like,
Yeah.
you can see the bits of R2 and another astromech that we'll talk about a little bit later in this BB unit, and bless him, I love him.
He was the R2D2 of the sequel trilogy. And I think that was intentional. Because like Kristen said, anytime BB-8 shows up, it's probably a highlight moment in the sequels.
Up next at number 9, we have Lola. She is Leia's droid
Lola.
from
Hello,
the
LA. No,
Obi-Wan Kenobi
Sorry.
series.
Not the Kink song.
She looks like a little CD player that flies and sometimes has legs.
Yeah, it's freaky.
Named for Carrie Fisher's
Yes.
actual parrot, some sort of bird that she had when she was little. It's a cute droid. It's got a laser, so it actually helps Leia escape a couple of times. I found myself actually getting a little bit attached to this droid. I mean, she never talks, but the amount of love that Leia has for it kind of endears this little CD player to my heart. Up next at number 8, we have Toto. He is Cad Bane's droid helper, voiced by Seth Green.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness, this poor droid is so abused. Like, Cad literally blows him up in his first appearance and then apparently puts him back together. I guess because he's in the Bad Batch.
But he sticks around for the abuse. So,
like, it's so sad. It's so sad.
Thank you, Mr. Green, though, for bringing this character to life.
Yes.
It is a good character as an accessory to Cad Bane.
He is a delightfully sassy droid. He is a sassy droid.
And we like Cad Bane.
We like Cad Bane, and so his droid sidekick isn't always a welcome sight.
Okay.
Up next at number 7, we have K2SO. He is the reprogrammed Imperial droid from Rogue One, as played by Alan Tudyk.
We love Alan Tudyk.
We love Alan Tudyk. We actually have a whole video about how much we love Alan Tudyk coming later this year. But K2SO, as I said, he's a reprogrammed Imperial droid. I think he's like a security droid of some kind. And I will be honest, until recently, I didn't have a great deal of attachment to most Star Wars droids. Like, R2 was pretty much the only one I had any form of supreme attachment to. And then K2SO became one of the biggest heroes in Rogue One, and I about lost it. This droid had been so deadpan and so much fun through the entire movie, and then boom. I'm like, no, not the Alan Tudyk droid. But anyway, up next at number 6, we have IG-11. He is the bounty hunter droid from The Mandalorian, as played by Taika Waititi.
Awesome.
He becomes the nanny droid to Grogu in at the end of the season, I think, and then he just recently got rebooted so that he could be the marshal of the planet where they've kind of come to call home.
Okay, when you say rebooted, do you mean push the button, turn him off, or do you mean revive the character?
Revived. They put him back together.
He's a droid, so push the button, reboot.
For a little bit, he was Grogu's chassis. Like Grogu was controlling him, and then they found all of his parts and put him back together.
And yeah, yeah.
But yeah, IG-11. Up next, we have AZ. He has far too many numbers to come after those two letters, so we're just going to stick with AZ. He made his first appearance in Clone Wars and has been continuing on in the Bad Batch.
We love this droid.
Love this droid. Love this droid so much. And part of the reason I love this droid so much, I don't know about you, but he was the only person to help Fives during that whole arc. And if you watched my What If from last year, you know that I love Fives. So the fact that this droid helped him out was lovely.
The key behind the droids, all of them, is that they're humanized as they go through all of the films
And this
or
one
the
is
TV shows. This one seemingly more so than some of the others. I mean, you get the spunk from R2D2, you get the annoyance from C3PO, you get
the deadpan
some of
from
the exactly
K2SO.
some of the other characteristics, but this one as a medical droid has making sure that people's welfare is his heart, if or his cogs or
He was
whatever,
programmed with a bedside manner.
and it's evident as you go through and you see what he does in Bad Batch, what he did in Clone Wars, for that matter. Very, very likable, very likable droid from the outset.
All right. Up next at number 4, we have AP5 from Star Wars Rebels. I have no idea who voices him, but if I didn't know any better, I would say it was Alan Rickman.
This,
Because whoever is voicing him is doing an Alan Rickman impression.
without doubt.
He is such a better 3PO. I can't even begin to state how much of a better translator,
Yeah.
whatever. He is technically an inventory droid. That is his designation.
He's still annoying.
But it's an annoying we can tolerate
And-
and
and-
kind of love.
Get this comparison down the right way. We're talking Alan Rickman from Harry Potter.
Yes.
We're not talking Alan Rickman from Die Hard. Totally different characterization. This droid really, when he first came onto the scene, I was like, "Is that Alan?"
He made me
Rickman?
check.
We had to double check because mannerisms, the voice is just, but it's not. Did you look up who it's played by?
I did, but I can't remember the name.
Fantastic job, sir, on that droid and capturing his essence, if you will.
Yes, his back and forth with Chopper and Zeb to a certain extent, just really makes him lovable. It kind of broke my heart when it looked like they were having him cameo in Ahsoka, and then never let the droid that looked like him talk. So I wasn't able to confirm whether or not it was actually AP5.
They had several of those things in Ahsoka.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later in Star Wars.
Check the month.
But yeah, AP5. He was a great addition to the Ghost crew. Actually, that's something I messed up on last year. I forgot to include him in our Ghost crew roster when we were counting down the 10 best non-Jedi characters.
In your defense, he was a later addition.
This is true. This is true. I think he first showed up in season 3, somewhere in there. All right. Up next, we've reached number 3. We are at number 3. We have Hu Yang, Professor Hu Yang. He is played by David Tennant in both his first appearance in Clone Wars and his most recent appearance in Ahsoka. He is the lightsaber maker, or more rather, he is the one who has instructed Jedi for over 1,000 years on how to make their lightsabers.
Dude's legit.
He probably knows more about Jedi than literally anybody, including Yoda, mostly because he's been around for longer. Um, he is smart. He is clearly caring, just judging by the simple fact that he seems to be the only one who's been taking care of Ahsoka for the last several years. Um, and he's played by David Tennant. I mean, what more could you ask for? Stop rolling your eyes at me.
Sometimes you're such a fangirl.
Yes,
Um,
and happily.
this character really encapsulates the entirety of the Star Wars universe. You could almost see this droid showing up at any point when there's specifically when there's a Jedi involved, but also when there's a Dark Force person involved. You really I think it'll be interesting to see in some of the early iterations of what they're going to do coming soon
Yeah, with
to
the
a Star Wars
acolyte
exactly,
in
and see if
July.
this droid shows up, which it would
In
make
theory, he
sense
could. In
that
theory, he
that he
could.
does.
We could at
So
the very least see his birth, for want of a better term,
or his development
his
or
development, however you want to
coming
phrase
off
it.
the assembly line. No.
No. All right, we've reached the top two. Top two. At number two, we have Chopper. He is technically an astromech. I think he's like CP something or other. I don't know all of his numbers. I freaking love this droid. He's voiced by Dave Filoni. All of the weird little noises that he makes, that's Dave Filoni in a recording booth
If you
somewhere.
don't know who Dave Filoni is, he is the genius behind the
Pretty
vast majority of all the animated Star Wars.
he does the good bits of Star Wars currently. Him
And
and Jon Favreau.
they are combining together to be a part of the new Mandalorian series as well as the picture, the motion picture that'll be coming out. Again, coming attractions, I believe next year,
I
maybe
think
the
you're
year
right.
after.
I think you're right.
So Dave Filoni, our props to you. You are up there next to George Lucas in our book as far as your love, obvious love for this franchise and your intense desire to fill in the gaps.
Back to Chopper though.
Dude must have been in the Navy because he cusses like a sailor.
I mean, he's not wrong.
If you get the opportunity,
He would have been Air Force because he was shot down.
if you get the opportunity, go to some of the plethora of YouTube videos that are out there and see the chopper scenes
With
that are
subtitles.
subtitled.
It
It
gave him
is
such a
hilarious.
You watched some Chop Talk,
It
didn't you?
is so funny. So again, another I guess ad link or whatever, but go and watch some of those Chop Talk videos that Kristen talked about. YouTube, a chopper with subtitles. It's awesome.
It's amazing.
It's absolutely
It
incredible.
is genuinely amazing. Another thing about Chopper, like I said, he was shot down during the Clone Wars. Hera is who rescued him and kind of put him back together. I think she accidentally programmed some of her daddy's rebellious stuff into him because he's a war criminal. Like, let's just call it what it is. Chopper has committed numerous war crimes. There are also YouTube videos that like count how many war crimes Chopper has done, and it's a lot. Like Chopper's just out here blowing up ships all by himself and singing a little song while he does it. Like he
He's
loves his
psycho.
job.
He's a psychopath.
He's a psychopath, but he loves Hera.
One of the things that we didn't talk about on the outset, and possibly we should have, was the fact that the droids are an integral part of this
Oh
universe.
yeah.
The certainly the creatures from the original series, Chewbacca and his race, but the droids are an integral, very, very important part to the Star Wars Skywalker saga, etc. Wherever they're going from here on out. They are very, very important. I will be very, very disappointed in future shows if they don't continue that theme by having
At least
droids,
one
at
droid.
least one droid that takes on some incredible characteristics. Now, we do see droids that are just functional robots. They
Hmm.
basically have a task, they do their task. But the ones that are the characters, the rich, deep characters in the Star Wars universe, are they accentuate.
Hmm.
Even the prequel and the sequel
Yeah.
films, they do a great job in creating sometimes humor, sometimes a poignancy, but all the time just that extra character that certainly needs to be there interacting with the human characters.
And now,
Number
number
one.
one.
I guess you
I
probably.
mean, if you've not guessed, then you've not been paying
He's the only
attention.
character that has been in everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, R2D2.
Our friend, if you can
Our
see
little
him,
friend.
our little friend.
Our dear little friend. Um, he is basically a ride or die for the Skywalker clan. Have you noticed? Once he becomes Anakin's droid, he's Anakin's ride or die. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is, R2 took Anakin to the Jedi Temple to do um his not good things at the Jedi Temple. Let's just say it like that. And then he took him to Mustafar to do the not good things to the Separatist Council or whatever those dudes were that Anakin took his lightsaber to. And R2 didn't say a word about it.
R2 winds up being one of the first characters introduced
Mm,
ever
mm,
in the films, in the original films
that's true.
that came out in the 70s. And so you have to give this. I mean, if you have a different droid rather than R2D2 as your number one, please give us 5 pages of
Give us a big
explanation.
long reason down in the comments
They're
below.
almost a doctoral thesis about why R2D2, why your droid should be number one rather than R2D2. But I think, and I hope that you all agree that there's just no doubt. I mean, he is the thread that runs through the entirety of the universe,
He's been
and
in literally all of the movies, all of the shows, except for maybe Bad Batch. Please confirm there. And like all the comics, he and 3PO had their own little spin-off show for a minute. There are still talks that there's going to be a whole droid movie centered around him. That is our list.
hey,
The top 10 droids of Star Wars.
welcome to Star Wars Month. So, from the Crossing Kid Garage and Star Wars Month, I'm Randy.
And I'm Kristen.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.